Today, we're going to talk about being your own bank. We're going to talk about how you can take back control of your money using different sources of money. And we're even going to get down and show some case studies on how you can make your money work for you and how your money will then produce you returns with limited risk. And you are in full control. Unlike all of you that are in Wall Street, how's that control doing for you right now? Anyway, without that, I'm going to share something super duper special here, and you guys are absolutely going to freaking love this one. So stay tuned. Coming live at you. Oh.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Literally, like, this is how we have fun here. I know that's not everybody's idea of having fun, but you know what? That's what we do when we're looking to have a good old time and talk about current events. Because you know what? Darn right, is that not the truth? Some of you are like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. Well, let's see. So that is going to be our newest YouTube video. We're going to put it up there. I guarantee you it will get taken down. So I hope you guys enjoyed the first viewing. That literally just got finished this morning. So you all had the ability to preview that video first. All right. So with that being said, let's dive in. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a recap of, the 3-day event, which we just did. Now, just by a show of hands, how many of you were on the 3-day training or were participants on some of it and got the recording? Say aye. I just want to get a gauge of how many of you were on there. We had about 130 people over the weekend. And to say that it was an eye-opening event, and I hate to say this from me, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of these people that were there could tell you the same thing. It was definitely eye-opening. It took you on a journey into the past, into history. It showed you why things are the way they are now. It explained how then, because you can go on YouTube, you can go on CNBC, anything, and it'll tell you where you're at today. But that's looking through things on a microscope. That is not taking a look from the whole view of looking at where are we, what's now, and what's next. And that's kind of the whole theme of it. Is we wanted to show you this is where we're going, but not just where we're going, how to actually get ready for this. And it's not all about just the whole lives, because some of you are like, well, those whole lives are great that you guys are always talking about. Maybe you know about what we talk about with the infinite banking concept. Maybe you don't. You're going to learn a little bit more today. But some of you are like, well, that's great, but I've got all my money in my 401k, or I've got all my money in IRAs, or I've got all my money in my old retirement plan. That doesn't work for that stupid whole life thing you guys talk about. Well, we solved that problem too, and we walked you straight through the whole thing. And then we went into kind of what we're going to really hit on today, which is being your own bank with different assets. So all of you have one of these assets. All of you either have an infinite banking policy that we've created for you, which is especially designed and engineered whole life. All of you probably have or have known someone who has had a 401k, a 457, a TSP, or some type of qualified retirement plan from your employer. Most all of you have an IRA, a Roth, a traditional, maybe a simple, or maybe a SEP IRA. So all of you have those, and most all of you that have a house have equity in your house. So we're going to really cover those different asset classes and how you can be your own bank and apply banking strategies, commonly known as the infinite banking concept, to different asset classes and different vehicles. But we're really going to hone in on those pesky IRAs and 401ks. Why? Because, well, how much money's in those things, Stephen, in this country? Is it, gosh, I don't even know. How much is in those things?
Trillions of dollars.
Yeah, I think it's like tens of trillions of dollars is in that. And my computer just notified me that I have low system resources. So, of course, can't ever have a day where technology doesn't play its part. But we're really going to kind of get into that stuff and explain how you can use it. And the beauty is we've got Duck V. So we got two different opportunities right now. There's two really big ones. Duck V, okay, somebody who's been on this show, somebody who I've been on his show, a dear friend of ours, has an opportunity for all of you. And then we've got another opportunity, which we mentioned in the 3-day, which many people took advantage of. We still have some room left in that one. So we're actually going to use them as case studies. So Stephen, where should we start?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we should start kind of at the beginning of where is our money now? Where should it be? And how do we start taking advantage of things like tax advantage laws and laws surrounding whole life policies and how they act through the money multiplier policy to start with. And then from there, we can move our wealth into investments, things like the opportunities like Duck V has, things like private money lending opportunities to grow our wealth, even further. But first, we need to make sure that where we're storing it and keeping it is safe, secure, and growing for us one way or another. In a self-directed retirement account, for instance, we can have tax-free growth for the rest of our lives. In an infinite banking policy, for instance, we're going to have guaranteed compounding, uninterrupted growth every year for the rest of our lives, while simultaneously using that money to move our money and make more money and create wealth, 2 times at once. So I think we should kind of just review one time, infinite banking, and then the, different types of tax-advantaged retirement accounts, how they can take advantage of both, and then from there, moving money.
All right. I like that. So what I'm going to do then, since I've got it up on the screen, I'll just spotlight mine so that you can all see it. And there we go. You can see the screen pretty good, right?
Yes.
All right. So when we're talking about being your own bank, we're talking about many different vehicles. Primarily, when you hear us talking about it, we're usually talking about the specially designed and engineered whole life. But in this case, I want to make sure we hit them all. Most of you that have a house, you have equity in your house. Because everybody's houses have gone up because we're in a speculative bubble. We're all benefiting from that. The question is that money working for you, or is it sitting lazy on your couch? So that would be the money in your home. Then we've got self-directed IRAs. Okay, we're going to hit that really hard. Self-directed IRAs are no different than your traditional IRA, no different than your Roth IRA, no different than any of the traditional IRAs that you have now, with one exception. A self-directed by its true nature is identical in how it performs. All the rules are the same. The biggest difference is what you can invest in. So your traditional IRAs allow you to invest in sometimes a vast array of mutual funds. Maybe you're lucky and you have some ETFs in yours. Maybe if you're really lucky, you have a separate account. You can invest in stocks inside of your IRA, or maybe you have your IRA in one of the brokerage platforms like TD Ameritrade or Schwab. Doesn't matter. Your universe of investment options stops at Wall Street. You don't have any opportunities to invest outside of traditional financial vehicles. A self-directed IRA takes that barrier down, knocks that wall right down, and allows you to invest in anything that you want for the most part. In other words, you can use your self-directed IRA to buy actual real gold. You can go and buy gold tokens. You can buy silver. You can buy chunks of gold, blocks or bricks of gold, whatever you want. You could go out and you can buy cryptocurrency. If you want to buy Bitcoin, or you want to buy Ethereum, or any of those cryptos that we always talk about, you can buy those with your self-directed IRA. You could lend money to Duck V. You could lend money to that development opportunity that we're going to talk about and make whatever the interest is, which 12% for the development. Hopefully Duck V's got a really good offer for you as well. You can do all these things. Heck, you can even buy real estate. So maybe you're a real estate investor and you want to buy real estate. There's a lot of rules, but our team would help guide you through how you can and what you should and should not do with your self-directed IRA. So those are the biggest differences. In its nature, an IRA or a self-directed IRA are identical. If you've got a Roth IRA, great, you can have a self-directed Roth IRA. If you've got a regular 401k and you want to move it into a self-directed, yep, we got you covered there. You can do a self-directed 401k, whether it's a solo K or just a regular standalone 401k. It's just the custodian that's different. And the custodian then guides you and helps you do the things the proper way so you don't violate laws, but they don't make recommendations. They don't give you a suite of mutual funds to invest in. Although if you want to attach your self-directed IRA to your brokerage account, maybe you're at TD Ameritrade and you're like, wow, I really love TD. I don't want to trade away from that. Great. Link it to your self-directed IRA. No problem. Stephen can talk about that. So that's the only difference with a self-directed. Then obviously we've got the privatized banking policies that we use for the infinite banking concept. What are these? Well, these are just whole life policies, but not just whole life policies. Because if you go to your life insurance store or your broke ass brother-in-law who wants to sell you the whole life so he can make a big old commission, he's not going to know how to build the plan the right way for what we do. We design and engineer these plans to solely be used for banking, which means we put less emphasis on the death benefit, more on the cash value. We flip it, design it backwards, and that gives you one heck of a vehicle. Many of you already have these. You understand how these work. If you don't, we might touch on it in a little bit because, Stephen, one thing we never did at the 3-day is get into that COLI policy. Maybe we could kind of bring that one up at the end today. And then you might have just a 401k right now that you're, at the employer you're working at. And if you have a 401k right now, we can use that by taking loans, but you're going to be restricted to the limits of your 401k. And they might tell you can't take loans. So if you have a 401k, check with your provider, make sure they allow loans. And the rules are basically 50,000 or 50% of your balance. It's whatever's greater. So that would be a 401k and conventional sources. Maybe you just got, bank accounts or whatever it is. Those are the different places where your money would be sitting. And all we want to do is we want to devise a system. Get up another diagram here. All right, let's do that because this is what we're going to be talking about. We want to develop a system where wherever your money sits, okay, this is your money, anywhere where this sits. Maybe it's the privatized banking policies, the whole life, as most people would know this. Maybe it's a self-directed IRA. Maybe it's a HELOC. Again, it doesn't matter which one of these it sits in. And then 401ks, and I'll just write other. All your money is going to start on this side. So that's where we're going to basically kind of call it. This is the bucket where your money begins. Then what we want to do is we want to identify opportunities where your money can make more. Duck V's deal, or the development opportunity, or any opportunity in the private money club, which is our community for lenders and borrowers. Anything in there would satisfy this. So the number I'm going to use, just as it's on the board, is 12%. Now, let me ask all of you. Can all of you just tell me, is 12% an okay return for you? Just give me an I or an AYE. Is 12% a good return for you, or do you want more? I mean, obviously, I know you want more, but would you all be happy with 12% as it's coming in? All right, now let me ask another question. How about 10%? Would that be an okay return for all of you if it was a fixed return secured by real estate? Okay, good. So we can go 10, we can go 12, maybe even 8. It doesn't matter what the rate is. You in the lender, or I'm sorry, you and the borrower determine what that rate is. I don't want to get too hung up on the rate. I simply want you to understand that that's going to be up to you to figure out the rate. Where in Wall Street, do you all get to determine what your rate is? So if you're in mutual funds, if you're in ETFs, if you're in stocks, do you get to determine how much you make? No. What determines that? Wall Street, right? Outside forces, things that you are not in control of in the slightest. Do you have any control over the decisions that Google makes in their day-to-day operations, even if they're decisions that could make their stock go down? Do you have any decisions in or do you have any control, or do you have any ability, even as a stockholder, which makes you an equity partner, quote unquote, of Peloton? Can you then advise Peloton's board and make suggestions on what they do so that their stock doesn't drop? What did it go down, Stephen? 70%? No, you don't. You're completely out of control. In this environment here, when you're your own bank, you are in control of all of the narratives, including how much risk you want to take. And you can kind of say you're in control with your stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, or whatever you're investing in, dialing in the risk, because you can go conservative or you can go high risk. And I agree with that. But here, you can control how you protect your wealth through security instruments, i.e. collateral. When you take out a loan from the bank to buy your car, does the bank just give you a loan and say, hey, don't worry about it, we're just going to give you the loan? No, they clearly want to be on that title. They want to cloud the title with a lien, so that if you ever sell the car or you wreck the car and it has to be a total loss, they get paid first. Isn't that the position where you'd want to be, where you are numero uno? Because I think in that movie, Talladega Nights, they said, Ricky Bobby's dad said to him, if you're not first, you're last. So there you go. So when we're doing this, all we want to work off of, very simply, is a spread. Everything that we do with being your own bank is a spread. How much does it cost me to use the money, and how much money do I make? And then in the middle, how much uninterrupted compound interest can I earn? And that is only found in one place. The uninterrupted compound interest can only be earned in one of these options, which is the specially designed and engineered whole life. So if you don't understand compound interest, just look up or Google the training where it goes into a penny doubled every day for 30 days. they ask, do you want $1 million today, or do you want a penny doubled every day for 30 days? And the difference is the penny doubled gets you about 5.3 million, and the $1 million is $1 million. That's compounding. But what if you could earn compound interest while still using your money? In other words, in this one, if we had, let's just use $100,000. Let's say we had 100,000 in cash value, and we took that 100 grand out and we loaned it to Duck V's project. Okay, I'm just going to pick on him, and in a second, Duck V, I'm going to make you one of the hosts here, so you can kind of tell us about this deal. And hypothetically, let's just use 12% because it's on the board. Over here in this policy, if you're making between 5 and 6%, with a good portion of that being guaranteed, but you take money out. So let's say we take 100 grand out to give to Duck V for his deal. How much money is left in your account? So if you start with 100, but we take 100 out, how much is left? Can someone tell me? Okay, 100. It's blurry. Yeah, it's because I have low resources on my computer. I don't really know what to do to fix this. I really don't.
Yeah, just a heads up. It was kind of doing that earlier too. Something with that. I don't know if
no, it's something with my computer. Here, let me do this real quick, folks. Stephen, I'm going to make you the host.
I think I am already.
You are? No, you're not. All right. So I'm making you the host. So the only thing you'll have to do is give me the ability to share my screen is all. Because that might help. I'm not really sure, but if we don't have a good recording, this is going to suck. My computer's doing its thing again.
Are you recording this without?
No.
Shit. So you made Stephen
Sorry.
host, right?
I did, and I deleted the thing. Is that any better, Stephen? Did it start looking better?
Nah, it's still blurry.
Shit.
Yeah, it's
All right. Should I log off and log on?
the laptop is shot, so it's
Yeah,
just
it's time for a new computer. I don't know what else to do. We're going to just have to kind of deal with this. How bad is the blurriness, everybody?
Oh, we just can't really see the slides. I don't know if you can send them out afterwards. We can kind of see what you're writing, but we can't see anything else.
I got an idea for that.
It's just-
Okay.
I already have it working
Yeah,
fine.
I've got an idea for that. Here,
Pull together
let's.
some bandage lines and duct tape, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to roll through it, folks. If any of you know me or have ever been on our trainings, technology is definitely not my thing. Matter of fact, it's my most feared thing. So I'm just gonna bring it up and then just do a screen share. That'll be easier. And while I'm doing that, let me quickly bring up Duck V. You still with us, Duck V? I'm gonna make
He
you.
said he's in the car driving to lunch.
Oh, well, that's probably not gonna work. All right, we'll come back to that in a second. Bear with me. I just got to change slides here. If you can't see the one behind me, it's just pointless. And my computer is so shot, it won't even pull up these PowerPoint slides. But anyway, I'll just keep going, and we'll talk it through, and then you guys can just. I apologize. Actually, here. Let me see. Can you? We'll edit this out, so when we send it, this isn't like this odd. Stephen, can you see my screen there?
Yes.
Is that blurry?
No, it looks good.
All right. So I'm just going to try to use this here. Not going to be quite as good as me drawing, but in a pinch, we're going to just go with it.
Yeah, take that back. It's still pretty blurry, at least for me.
Gotta be joking. Is
Yeah,
it
you
blurry
can't
on Zoom?
You can't see that at all. It's better doing it the other way.
Hmm.
At least you can show us what you're talking about. Oh, it's clearing up a little bit now. It's a little better.
A
I
little
can at
bit
least see
more.
it. Yeah, we can at least read the numbers now. Yeah, it's going in and out. Something with your internet today.
It's not my internet, it's the computer. Can you see that
That
screen?
looks good. That's clear.
All right, we're rolling with this. There we go, folks. We got it. Sorry about that. I am going to literally, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to buy a new computer because I'm about done with this. So anyway, we were using 100, but now we're going to have to use 170 here because that's just the number we're going to use that's going to work. So we got 170K here. and I don't care what one of the vehicles, but we're talking about the specially designed and engineered whole life, and we're going to lend that out. And this is your lending deal. Okay. This is like I was showing Duck V's deal. All right. So when we take the 170 out, if we start with 170 and we take 170 out, if you're using the specially designed and engineered whole life, the 170 is not affected. Your money never leaves your account. What you're using, this 170, is a loan against your death benefit. So whatever your death benefit is on 170, let's just say it's a $3 million death benefit, you're actually just using part of your death benefit. And when you do that, it allows your 170 to sit in this account, earning an uninterrupted 5 to 6%. And the reason there's a range is after 7702, the different carriers have different rates. But like Mass Mutual 6, Lafayette's pretty close to 6, but I'm just doing a range here. And when we take the loan out, there's going to be loan interest there's charged. So when we talk about a spread, if you borrow from the insurance company, right now it's 425. If we use a bank line of credit, it's 325. So only thing I'm trying to show you is if you're making, let's just pick on 6 because it's easier. If you're making 6 and you're spending 4.25, what is your spread? 1.25. So in the first year, you're making 1.25, which although that doesn't get any of you excited, the one thing that does is it's more than what you're making in your bank account. It's more than what you're making in most CDs right now. It's more than what you're making in your money market. So this is displacing cash. That's all this is doing. You're just finding a better place to park your capital first. The whole life policy, I want to be very clear, is not an investment. We get too many people all the time saying, oh, I want to invest my money in that whole life. Investments involve risk. The whole life policy I'm referring to has a zero risk. Zero. Okay. It's guaranteed. So therefore it's not risk. Secondarily, people are always like, oh, well, if I start the whole life, I could make more money. If that's all the whole life pays, I could make more money in stocks. Stop. You can make money twice, not just once. That's what I'm trying to show you. Here, we're making a spread of 1.25 in this example, this hypothetical example. And then how much are you making here by the loan? This is the note. We're making 12%. So you're making 12 plus 1.25. Okay. So in this deal using this vehicle, you get to make money twice. So now you're making 13.25% if that were your numbers. Okay. But here's the best part about this. If we then take this 12% interest and we roll this money back in, equivalent to about $1,700 a month, if we roll that money back over into the plan, you now get to keep all that and all that interest. The second thing that's going to happen here is each year, this 170 grows. So if we just did the math and we said, all right, 170, so 170, and I'll just use 6% times 6%, that's $10,200. So that was the first year. But the second year, we are now building on 180. Sorry, it's hard to draw with this. 180, 200, making 6%. Okay, so that's compounding. And every year, this is going to keep going and going and going. Plus, you've got this money being recaptured back in, which now also gives you additional horsepower. So each year, your spread goes up. This is what we call the infinite banking concept. It is a banking function, and all we're doing is we're playing the spread. And the spread, the best part in this vehicle, remember we're talking about the whole life, is the spread never ever does anything except go up. The tricky part is most of you probably don't know how to do this. They don't know how to structure the loan. I'll cover a little bit of that today. All right, so let's clear that. Now let's go round two. Let's use a HELOC. Let's say some of you have a HELOC. What's if somebody could chat in, the whiteboard was better, a lot of people are saying.
It's cleared up behind you now. It just kind of faded out again. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're good.
I'm just going to keep doing this. Can somebody tell me what they're getting charged on their HELOC? How much are you getting charged on your HELOCs right now? 6. Holy cow, 6%. Find a new bank. Okay, 375, 439. All right, so if I say 4%, we'll just kind of use that number of 4%. So if you're 4%, and some people are 2.75 and up, so the numbers are different. But if your cost of money, so this is your cost to use the money in your house, the equity. So if we do the same thing and we lend 170 out and our cost is 4 and we lend it out on Duck V's deal, like we said before, that's 12. What is your net? Well, it's 12 minus 4. Okay, so you guys can see now that's your spread. Your spread is always going to be the difference that you're really keeping. That's how much money you get to keep in this scenario. The other one, the private banking was better because now all of a sudden you were making a spread plus compound interest. And this still isn't bad. Many of you earlier said 8% would be okay if you guys earned 8%. So here you go, $1,700. And what can you do with that 1,700? Well, if you're smart, you'll take it and you'll pay down the HELOC. So we're just getting rid of this. And now we're just making this your HELOC. You'd roll that back into your HELOC. And then you just continue to keep moving the money and just keep moving it out, finding new deals. Every time the 1,700 builds up, you just redeploy the 1,700. Maybe some of you are like, yeah, but that's no fun. Great. So let's do this. Let's take 1,000 and repay our HELOC. Let's take $700 and let's go buy, I don't know, pick a car, any car that would cost $700 a month. Let's go buy a BMW, a real fancy BMW. I don't know. Let's do like an M3 or an M4 or something like that. Maybe you can get one of those for 700. So now you get to enjoy some of the money, but $1,000, which is money that was literally made out of thin air by you being your own bank, came from the spread. So that's the HELOC. And folks, we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about this in a second. I'm just trying to get you to explain spreads and how this all works. Now, let's just say it's a self-directed IRA, but I'm going to kind of throw this up. And Stephen, this is your favorite thing. Instead of doing a self-directed IRA, let's do a self-directed Roth. Now, the biggest thing about a Roth IRA is it is tax-free. So if we did this from maybe you moved your 401k or your old IRAs into a Roth and you paid the taxes now, because taxes will never be less, and you had 170 to do the same thing. Now you got 12% coming in. The problem with the IRA is the 1,700, you don't really get to go buy the BMW because that money's got to all go back into your self-directed IRA. If you don't, that's going to be a withdrawal. And if it's a Roth and you're over 59 and a half, great. Go do whatever you want with this money. But if it isn't a Roth, and if you're not 59 and a half, well, you better put that money back in here. But how nice would that be to earn 12% on your retirement dollars? And if it's a Roth, be able to use all of that money tax-free. See, here's where the Roth is better than the specially designed whole life. The whole life is tax-free, but only the corpus of the whole life, only the policy's gains. So the 6% or the 5%, whatever you're making internally, that's tax-free. You see, in the whole life example, the 12% that Duck V or whoever else is paying you on that loan, this is taxable in that example. If we use a Roth IRA, a self-directed Roth, this 12%, if when you earn it, you send it back to the IRA, which is the only way you should ever do it. The check actually is made out not to you, it's made out to your custodian, FBO, your name, okay, which stands for benefit of. So that 1,700 then goes back into the Roth. Now, all of the money is tax-free. That's pretty sweet. Can you imagine like making 12% and never having to pay tax on any of that money, even after you've done this year over year and over year? That's the advantage of the self-directed IRA. And then the worst of them all is, well, some of you might just be like, I don't like any of that whole life stuff or those self-directed. I just have cash, man. I'm a cash person. I keep money in the bank. Well, here's your sign first. But anyway, we move the 170 out. You make 12%. You pay tax on that 12%. And then you probably take that 1,700 and put it back in the bank. And how much is the bank, charge or giving you? Less than 1% or less. So, or less. So you can see that the other option is by far the worst, even though it seems like the simplest, because you're like, well, I don't have to learn anything. I just write a check. Yeah, well, that's the same thing you do for the privatized banking policy. It's pretty much the same thing you do for the self-directed IRA, except for there's some paperwork. But this is easy, but it's easy because it pays you the least. So those are your different options on how you can become your own bank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And let's dive into that a little bit, Stephen. So what do you want to talk about with that right there? Do we have any people with questions that came in or any examples that we can do?
I didn't see questions come in right now. We can use an example of maybe doing maybe show both sides of, benefits for the borrower and the lender for a deal.
Okay.
I know Devin sent one over that he's doing with one of the lenders from the Private Money Club right now. We could use those numbers.
Heck yeah. Can you pull that up?
And then Duck said he's in line ordering tacos. So,
Well, all right, Duck, we'll come back to you after you get your tacos in you. Let's go over that Devon deal, because that's a really sweet deal. And I wish I could use the board, but
yeah, go back to the board. It's looking halfway clear right now.
all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the board, and then you can just feed me the numbers.
Yeah.
Again, folks, I apologize for or actually you have to spotlight me because I'm not the host anymore.
All right. Spotlight for everyone. Is that it?
Yep.
All right.
You got it. All right. So just let's go through and let's do this real example.
All right. So in this example, this is one of our money mentors, Devin Burr, who also does a lot of real estate investing. And he's actually putting together a really cool course right now on how to use infinite banking with real estate investing. So look out for a drop in that in the next couple of months. But tell me when you're ready, Chris.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So for the borrower, Devin is borrowing $180,000 from the lender. Now, this was all done through the Private Money Club, which is just a private community, a paid community where borrowers meet lenders and lenders meet borrowers. So if you need money for deals, you can get it there. If you want to lend money to have your money work for you, like we're showing right now, that's where you can meet borrowers, people, experienced investors, people like Devin Burr, Chris Rude, Jack Petrick, Steve Lawson, Dwight Harrison, all the experienced investors we have in the club. So this right here was a deal that Devin is doing with one of the members in the club. She's actually on right now, so we're not going to use names, but so $180,000, which he is using as the borrower to pay down on the hard money loan. So he's using $75,000 to pay down a hard money loan with it. He is, let's see. So he's making 3 additional months worth of hard money loan payments using it, $20,000 each month. He's paying private money payments of $7,200, which is 3 months of payments. Renovation costs and furnishings for the Airbnb are $78,000. So that should add up to how he used the 180.
78,000.
That's how much he used for renovations and furniture for the Airbnb.
Oh.
So that should add up to 180 total.
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So we got 180. That's how the breakdown was. Paid down the hard money lender. Okay. 20,000 for interest. 7,200. I don't remember what that was. And then this is furniture and rehab. Okay. I think that was an interest payment as well. Got it.
All right.
So the lender, and do we know the source of where the money came from the lender? Was it a self-directed IRA?
I believe this was from an infinite banking policy.
Okay. So
in its first year. So we can talk about that.
Okay.
So when we talk about whole life policies, there's what we call an efficiency zone. So at the beginning of a whole life policy, you're going to have the money compounding through the internal dividends, which is what the insurance company pays you as a mutual owner of the company by owning a whole life policy. So you receive dividends annually on all of the money you put into your whole life policy. And that money compounds. The first few years of a policy, the policy is just starting to get those dividends and compound. So we don't have as strong as growth of later on once we start getting that uninterrupted compounding really start occurring. And that's when you really start seeing the crazy returns that we see in whole life policy starting in typically around year 7, 8, and beyond. But this one was in its first year. So the numbers we're doing is still when the policy was not as efficient. But just to lay those out for you, they lent $180,000. So they're moving $180,000 from their whole life policy into this private lending deal. And they're earning 12% interest on this deal. So this deal was for 3 months. So they earned a total of $7,200 in interest over the 3 months just through the loan.
So it's a short-term deal. Steven.
And then the 180,000 though, it never left the policy. Because remember, it came out of the form of a loan. So the money was in the policy growing at 6%, which should be another $2,700 over those 3 months. So the total earned was $9,900. Now there was 5% that they had to pay to the insurance company for those 3 months to use that money. So we have $9,900 they earned, and we subtract $2,250 out of that.
Yeah, so this is, somebody just posted a question, and you're not the one with the stupid sign. Believe me, there's other people that deserve the stupid sign much more than you, Tom. But the thing that you're looking at is, when you take a loan from your policy, you're saying, I still have to make my premium deposits, and then I also have to make the loan payments. So you're thinking it's going to cost, you're saving the premium deposits, and you're thinking that the loan deposit is, or the loan repayment is something totally separate. Your money, when you take a loan from your policy, your money should always go out and work for you. And it should always work for you at a rate higher than what your cost of capital is. Remember the spread. So if your cost of capital is 4 to 5% in loan interest, your money should be out there earning more than 4 to 5%. Because you just saw the example. This money's earning 12. That's 7,200 plus the interest over here that she made in the policy. So that's 9,900. But yes, this is the cost of capital. Okay, 2250. So that's the spread. That's what she makes on the policy, even after paying the insurance company the loan interest rate. And there's really neat ways we can adjust that, Tom, where we can bring the loan interest rate down by leveraging a bank, but you have to have usually over $50,000 in cash value to make that work. But this is a great example. So I love how this works.
Yeah. So there's just one last step here is basically just, when you do the math on this, because the $180,000, remember, it's being stored in the whole life policy. This is where you're stashing your capital, so to say. So instead of that sitting in like a money market account or a savings account at the bank, it's now in a whole life policy. So remember the advantages of that is whole life insurance policies are protected assets, essentially. So outside creditors, debtors, bankruptcies, lawsuits, like they can't come after life insurance contracts in almost all states. Now, there's a couple of things that can happen, but for the most part, that's true. So you're not actually, ever taking your money out of there. It's still in there stored. You're just paying the insurance company 5% to use that money. So your actual out-of-pocket cost to do this deal was the $2,250 you paid the insurance company in interest. So your actual out-of-pocket's $2,250 to make $9,900. So when we do the math on that, we just created a 470% cash on cash return on our investment by using money from our policy to do this private money loan. Does that make sense how we did that math?
Yeah, that's after all the costs and the expenses. That's the net numbers. Every policy is going to be a little different based on age and health and some things. But this is just a hypothetical example showing a real example. This is a real case study, and we will be doing a YouTube on this. This lender, can't give the name, but she's on here right now. Okay. This borrower is somebody on our team, Devin Burr. Look him up. He's one of the money mentors for the money multiplier. So this is pretty, interesting because this shows how this actually really works. Now, there's some things over here that you need to learn before diving into this. Devin and this lender are pretty versed in it because they've been around the campfire. But if you're brand new to this, if Tom, if this was your first deal, you'd have to learn how to structure this loan to protect yourself. Here I've got a loan note, so that's a promissory note, but that's only a small piece of it. That just spells out the terms. Then you'd need a mortgage. Then Devin would have had to have gotten insurance on this property, this Airbnb, to protect the lender. So the insurance would name the lender additionally insured, and you'd never ever, this lender normally under most circumstances would never send the money directly to Devin. This lender would send the money to an escrow agent, which would be a title company or an attorney. And then once the note and the mortgage are recorded at the courthouse, then the title company or the attorney would release the funds to Devin, and Devin would do everything you just saw. So that's how you protect it. And the other last thing is Devin over here is not borrowing in his personal name. He's borrowing this money in, well, I don't know if it's an LLC, but we'll just call it an entity. So this lender, rule number one, should never ever lend to an individual ever. You always have to lend to an entity because this is commercial lending and you don't want to play around with Dodd-Frank rules. So, this lender lent to Devin's company. Devin then helped structure the note and the security agreement. And then that payment comes back over here. And those are just the numbers. How many of you would be okay making 470% cash on cash? It's kind of silly.
And that deal was found in the Private Money Club. There's lots of options in there. So this was a great option, example of $180,000 for 3 months. But how many of you maybe don't have $180,000 ready to lend out yet? Or maybe, the problem with a 3-month loan is now you got to get your money back. You got to do it again. The money might sit around for a month, something like that. So how many of you would maybe like a longer term deal, like 5 or 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 years, where you can lend your money once and not worry about it for 6 more years and just have interest coming in on a regular basis? So they're inside the Private Money Club. We have tons of different options. Just to give you an example, I had Dwight Harrison, who's done over 1,200 to 1,600 deals now in his over 10-year career, him and his business partner. They're doing over 120 deals a year right now. And these guys are crushing it. So I did Money Club Mondays. If you happen to miss it Monday, I'll put in the chat box the YouTube link to watch the replay. I just put it in there, but go watch that after this training today, because what we did is we got into a smaller deal and how you can do that long-term. And Chris, what we can do is kind of lay out what that would look like using a policy or using a self-directed IRA. And then to get the details of that, watch the YouTube link that I just posted, because these are, and we got into not only the highlights of the deal, but we did a lot of education on Monday on what to look for when you're doing private lending and exactly what the steps are from the beginning right through the end on how that whole process looks. So those of you that are new to private money lending, make sure you watch that YouTube link I just posted so you guys can get a better feel of what we're talking about here. But before we get into that, Chris, can you make a new screen? I know Duck V said he was ready for us.
Okay.
You
want to hear real quick, just because we waited for him to get his tacos. Do you want to finish this Dwight one really quick and just do kind of a quick example? Because it'll take 2 seconds. I've already got it framed up.
Yeah. So plain and simple, this is a real simple. This would be perfect for a self-directed IRA, especially if you have a smaller amount. So the deal he has 2 or 3 right now. He's $15,000. He did have a couple for 10,000, so you can leave the 10 on there. So what this is it's $10 to $15,000 for these deals. And it's simple. You give him the money. He's going to pay you 10% annual returns for 6 years. It's a 20-year amortized loan is how the money's paid back. So you're not only receiving interest only payments, you're receiving principal and interest. And since it's amortized over 20 years with a balloon payment in 6 years, if you know how bank mortgages work, almost all of the interest is paid in the first 7 years anyways. So your balloon at the end is going to be very nice. And where this is beautiful is because it's long-term, your money isn't sitting throughout the year. So you're getting a true 10% annual return on your money. It's paid principal and interest quarterly. So if it's going back to a self-directed IRA, that doesn't really matter. If it's coming from a policy, now you have quarterly passive income coming in every quarter, every 3 months for the next 6 years of your life. And it's not just interest, you're slowly getting your principal back as well. So that way you can take that principal and start redeploying it even quicker. You don't have to wait for the total 6 years. So it's a beautiful deal all around for a lender right now. Especially those of you that have smaller. And even if you have larger amounts of money, let's say you have $150,000. Well, from a risk standpoint, would you rather lend all of your $150 on one deal that if that deal goes bad, then all your 150 is at risk? Or would you rather lend $10,000 on 15 different deals where if one of those deals goes bad or something happens, your other 14 deals and your other $140,000 are still, doing what they're supposed to do, and you can deal with just that 1/15 if you need to. So from a risk standpoint, it allows you to kind of move it around a little bit as well. So really cool stuff that he's doing over there. Just to give you one more example, and we don't have to write this right now, but we have another investor in the club, Steve Lawson, that does 10% annual return or 20% net profit. And so far, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know there's a bunch of people in here right now that are lending to Steve, but so far, all the deals have been paid back at 20% net profit. So if you like the idea of, hey, Steve just had a home run and made a shitload of money on this deal, why don't you make extra money as the lender on that deal too? So I'm just throwing examples out there. There's all kinds of different ways to structure these. That's all in the negotiation. And we have borrowers that are offering 3 month to 6 year to money in the profits to these private deals like we're going to show Duck V is raising for right now.
Perfect. Jason was asking, and do you want to bring Duck V as a panelist so that he can kind of chat and explain and walk us through his deal?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm the only one that's heard about it. And then Jason said, are there prepayment terms? So in other words, do you mean if for some reason Dwight were to prepay the deal, or if Devin were to prepay? Typically, most notes, I know all the notes that I do have a prepayment penalty, usually in the first anywhere between 60 and 90 days, because it just doesn't make sense to do the paperwork and go through it if there's, you know, a prepayment in 60 to 90 days. And I've only seen it get prepaid one time faster where they did have to pay that prepayment, and that was a Chris Rude deal, because all of his deals are super short term. There he is. What's up, Doc?
My hair's a mess. Look at this thing, man.
It's all right, man. You see mine lately? I haven't been to the barber. Or
Something about Mary.
There we go. Does that make you feel better? I'll just do the rest of the training with my hair kind of just, there we go. That make you feel better?
No, let's not do that. Oh, yeah. No,
Wow.
Yeah, man. So just trying to make you feel better. I don't have time to get a haircut. I got too much time, or only time I got is time to do these trainings. So the barber and the hairdresser is going to wait.
I chopped mine off.
I haven't been. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this deal. We are not under contract yet. We're still negotiating, but this is in northeastern New Mexico, a little town called Chacon, and it's a 170-acre ranch. It's 2 plots. One plot is 63 acres side by side. The other plot is 107 acres. And the 107 acres plot comes with a 5,700 square foot barnuminium that still needs to be built out. It's about 3/4 of the way built out. Eventually, I think I'll make it 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms is probably what I'm thinking. And so the total deal is 170 acres. It's got the Mora River running through it, great riverfront. It's got a full forest. We have minerals and timber rights, so I can cut down the timber trees. I can sell those. I can sell Christmas trees, all that stuff. But the dream is to start a glamping site. So tent sites where someone would go pitch a tent would be $50 a night. If they wanted to rent a glamping tent, which is a full safari tent, all fancy, boho, bohemian looking style, those go for about $110 a night. And eventually will lead to A-frame homes and mini tiny homes, things like that. But to get the ball rolling, it's it's like what Scott Duffy teaches us, right? What's the fastest way to income, to revenue? So from day one, once I close, we're going to just set up a minimum of 10 tent sites where people can just come and pitch a tent for $50 a night. Eventually, we'll add on services like they can rent a side-by-side all-terrain vehicle. They'll be able to rent golf carts. We'll have fishing guides, horseback riding. We'll do all that stuff. But initially, in the first year, I think with the debt service and everything, we'll probably net 30 to 50,000 the first year. And at the 5-year plan, by the time we have all of the tiny homes and everything built, I think we'll be netting $500,000 a year. The purchase price for the 5,700 square foot house and the 170 acres, the asking price is $700,000. We are currently at $600,000 negotiating.
So all this.
So
50.
Yeah, I'll probably put another 100,000 into the house, and then another couple 100,000 or so for operating capital to create the tent sites and the bohemian look and everything like that. So we're going to be a little between 850 to $1 million is where I'm looking to raise.
Okay. Are you going to be doing this in different tranches, like tranche 1 to buy the property, tranche 2 to develop the barn, and then tranche 3 for that? Or are you just trying to raise it all and then just pay interest on it all while it's sitting there?
So the cool thing about this deal is this. I think I want to do the 850 to 1 million as the initial raise to get us going. And the 63-acre plot, I have room where I will build a convenience store because there's nothing around us. We'll sell beer, wine, groceries. It'll have a place for like a bar. I've already named it El Pato Loco, the crazy duck. That'll be the bar.
I love ducks.
And create a road that will go up to the tiny homes. I'll put all the tiny homes, all the hard structures will go on the 63-acre lot. And what that does then is in the future, if I wanted to, I can sell that off and keep the 107-acre lot. So I'll probably do a second round of fundraising to create the convenience store, the bar, restaurant, and that sort of, and then when we go to building the houses, but by that point, I'll have a cash flow and a track record.
Perfect. All right. So let's get the audience to put in some questions. So you just heard all the specs of the deal. What would be the first questions you would have for the borrower in a deal like this? Go ahead. Where's the location again? It's in New Mexico.
Yep. Chacon, New Mexico.
Size of investments. Yep. We already got that. Let's call it, we'll round up. We'll do $1 million.
We'll call it $1 million. I'd like as few people as possible. And this would be passive lending.
What would be your minimum investment into this project?
I don't know. That's something you and I can talk about, Chris. I don't, you know.
So like when you say you only want a couple investors, give me a number.
I would say 100,000 with 10 investors.
10
is the
investors?
most I'd want.
Okay. So we're looking for 10 investors at 100,000 each.
Yeah.
Let's see what other questions. So we got that. So Michael, it's 100,000. I would like to loan. Okay. You don't even know any specifics about the deal quite yet, and people already want a loan. All right.
Awesome.
Let's see. How long is he requiring? Well, they probably know you. How long is he requiring funds? Oh yeah. What's the term of the loan?
I haven't even thought about it because right now I want to like get the property down. I'm thinking 10 to 12% interest.
Okay. I like,
and
12, so let's leave 12 up there.
Yeah. And I'm thinking the same idea that Stephen talked about where I'll cash you out maximum 5 years. I'd like to cash everybody out by 3 years.
Okay. So 3 to 5 year deal.
Yeah. And then the initial investors would be the ones I would go to first to reinvest into when I do the convenience store and the bar and restaurant.
Okay. Jared's asking, do you have any other comparable businesses as a basis for revenue? So in other words, you're taking this new project on. Let's just say it's income neutral year one. Let's just play, this is how I do it. I look at worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You buy this property, I give you $1 million, and the first year you make no money. Do you have the cash flow to support the debt load on this and still live your life as it is?
Oh yeah, the 30,000 net profit includes paying back the mortgage, the investors.
Okay, but let's assume a zero revenue. Let's just play worst case scenario. I'm just
zero revenue.
Yep.
Well, no, I'll have campers from day one because I've got like I'll bring in some RVs and trailers, campsites. It's going to be very popular. I've got if all I did was just sell hunting tags for $5,000 each, I could probably get 5 hunting tags. That's 25 grand right there. So, there's lots of stuff we can do. And the other thing is, this is going to be a bootstrapping Dr. V on the ground investment. It's not I'm not hiring a management company. This is Duck and Erica's dream.
Yep. So you guys would be moving out here. So Colleen was asking, you'd be moving. Okay.
I'm the one managing the whole thing.
So I'm just kind of going through the questions. Jossie had a good thing. What would be the position? Would they be in a first position? Would there be any other? Nope. So first position. I like that.
First position. Yep. I'm not going to a bank. I don't want to have to explain it. I don't have to, write it all up. I'm going to close this deal, whip us some money, and then just make everybody rich.
Okay. So let's see. Lost me on hunting. Donna said you lost me on hunting. Hunting tags just to make revenue.
Yeah.
Duck V's not going to be out there. Can you guys imagine Duck V out on his property with a big crossbow hunting an elk? That would be something.
I can't kill animals, but there's elk on the property. There's deer. There's bears, mountain lions, bobcats, eagles, hawks, the whole shebang. But it's amazing. The views are beautiful. There's nothing like it around there. Someone asked about the foundation. Like, I used to own an RV park, and I also used to own a mobile home park. So I'm familiar with that business. And we've looked at what Airbnbs are available in that area, other campsites that are available. And, you know, there's nothing like what we're talking about. They're okay, but there's nothing like a whole, you know, you come and you spend you get a whole 170 acres and riverfront. It's going to be nuts. I'm going to dig into a little beach area with a swimming pool on the river. So people jump in. It'll be 8 feet deep. They can jump in and sit at the beach. And it's also trout fishing. There's lots of stuff to do. We're super excited.
And, you know, just so everybody knows, I know Duck well, but I mean, his carry on this, you know, just for the debt service would be 120,000 a year minus any revenue he brings in. And if any of you know him, he would be a good person to lend to, because that's not going to blip his radar in terms of like being a problem from an income standpoint. So you always want to lend money to people that really don't need the money, that are doing it for a reason like convenience or another reason so they can scale. So like this deal and that development deal, like neither one of these people, whether it's Duck or whether it's Rob on the development deal, they don't need your money, but your money makes this more convenient for the borrower. So this makes him able to basically fulfill this and get it off to a quick start, where a bank, he could go and bank finance this. They wouldn't give him the money to get this thing off the ground. So he would be his revenue would suffer, where now you get the chance to benefit, you know, to the tune of somewhere in the neighborhood of 120,000 worth of interest over a 3 to 6 year period in a first secured position on this property, which I'm sure if you were one of the investors, he would invite you out anytime you want to come check the site out, to look at it, to walk it, to see it, so you can get emotionally attached to it.
Yeah, come check it out. You get to stay for free and see the progress, the building, everything like that. But to Chris's point, I don't want to have to come into my own funds to cover any shortfalls, but I could cover any shortfalls if there was like a monthly short.
So how many of you, like, just looking at this deal, and the next thing we're going to do after, you know, Duck goes, after doing this, is we're going to kind of show how a deal like this would be structured, start to finish, like paperwork and process. I'm going to give that to you real quick, but how many of you would be interested in a deal like this? Say aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go.
There's 10 of them right there.
So a lot of people are asking, okay, so if you were, you know, a lot of people are like, how would I get a hold of him? It's very simple. Private Money Club. This deal will be posted on Private Money Club. So get in Private Money Club and this deal will be there, and he will be raising money through that source. So if any of you want in on this deal, which clearly lots of you do, then that is your source. That is how you're going to do it. Just go to privatemoneyclub.com, sign up, and boom. How soon can we get this deal up on there, Duck? Can you work with Andrew to get this deal on there in like a couple of days, or when you get the contract?
Yeah, I can have it up in a couple of days.
Okay.
I think I was signed on I think we'll finalize the contract here this week. So I could probably have that up by the end of the week. And, you know, Chris knows me. I'm like, it's going to be very different. I've already talked about having like a social hour. I'm going to grill my tomahawk steak for campers who want to just come on down and have a glass of wine. So yeah, it's going to be like a really like, the other theme is it's going to be very eco-friendly. So I want more money. So I want to set up solar panels, rainwater and catchment. We're going to have lessons on there about farming and wildlife. And it's going to be all in the design of the property, where you're coming to get kind of the nature experience, but you're going to learn about animals. You're going to learn about the flora and the fauna, all sorts of stuff. It's going to be great, a fun experience. It'll be very different. High end.
Awesome.
We're going to cater to we're going to cater to the eco-sensitive young professionals.
Very good. And then where in New Mexico is it again? Can you give me that town?
The biggest town is Mora, M-O-R-A. And it's on the Mora River.
Okay, yeah, I remember the river over here. Perfect.
Yep.
No, it does not snow there. What are you trying to say?
It does snow. It snows, but there's a ski. That's a good thing. There's a ski lodge about 15 miles away. There's a small lake about 10 miles away. There's lots to do. And the winter months, if it snows, is great for hunting. So when people don't camp, I'll rent out the lodges and stuff for hunters, and they'll love it because they won't have to go anywhere. They'll just go right into the woods, into the forest on the property.
So just a few final questions for you, and then we're going to move on to the next deal. Is in the Q&A, we got one. Any way to get the minimum down to 50 if that was something?
Yeah, if you're not an asshole, I mean,
Okay.
I'm pretty easy to work with. I mean, I want, we all needed a start at some point, right?
Yeah.
So if 50 is what you got, and you're not a pain in the ass, and you're a good, cool, fun person, you're always welcome to be on my team.
All right. So 50 to 100 minimum. So that would push our, depending on how many investors come in, but we want to keep it as minimal as possible,
Yeah, but
down
if I get one investor who says, Doc, I'll give you the whole million, or I'll give you both slots right now, 2 million, then I would give preference to
sure,
that.
Sure. So it's obviously every deal on Private Money Club, and any of you that are in Private Money Club, you've seen this happen. Any deal is first come, first serve. I mean, Chris Rude's deals go up there. One went up, it was gone the next day. One of Steve Lawson's deals went up, and I immediately, second I logged in, I saw his deal post, and I just asked him, I said, hey, are you still looking for money? He's like, no, it's already gone. So like, it is first come, first served. So, like if we're looking for 10 investors, someone might come in with 200 and another person might come in with 50. So as long as we stay at 10 investors, then he would be good on that. So, that's how you would do this deal, but you got to be in the game to play the game. That's it, folks.
And Chris will tell you, I'm all about forming relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want, 10 cool people that's going to take the ride with me, man. The journey is going to be awesome.
For sure. Awesome, Doc.
Come visit the site, make it personal, and bring your family, all sorts of stuff. It'll be great.
Well, we got a bunch of interest here. So, so a bunch of people are saying they're in. So, get in Private Money Club. Stay tuned. It will be one of the new deals, which are highlighted. You can never, ever screw up what deals are the new deals. They got a big thing that says new. So that's a new feature in Private Money Club. And there's new features going up every day. So if you want in on this deal, you know where to go. Private Money Club. Duck, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
My tacos.
Tacos. All right. Steven, I got one more, and then let's move on to, what do you think? Structure after this?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you still see my board okay, or is it still a bit sketchy?
It's a little sketchy now, but we're all right.
All right. So folks, I want to give one more opportunity, just because, this is something I did in Private Money Club. In the 3-day training, it's where I put it the first place. So got to get my numbers right. So don't let this scare you. It's a $10 million total raise. But there are 3 tranches. So I want to teach you all what a tranche, I might have spelled that wrong, but I think that's right. A tranche basically is very simply like there's one raise, let's say it's 5 million. Then the second tranche is the second raise, and then there's a third tranche. There's going to be 3 tranches to this. And the reason that's done is this investor, his name's Rob, he owns a very large development company with thousands and thousands and thousands of properties. You can research them. I'll put the deal up. But here's the thing, with a deal like this, he doesn't need all $10 million. And I'll give the specifics about this particular deal. So that's why it's being done in tranches. We're at about, I think, 1.2 million so far of the 10. This is an immediate deal that needs funding quickly, like in the matter of the next couple of weeks. Tranche 1 needs the next couple of weeks. So what we're looking for is we're looking to raise money, and this is Private Money Club, but this is a deal available, that we launched in the 3-day. So basically, any of you can get in on this. So $10 million, doesn't matter how you're lending, self-directed IRA, anything. He's got an attorney who, Rob would get on the phone with you. It's not my deal. So don't ask me too many questions. I send you over the packet, and then you just schedule a time to talk to Rob, and, you get into it. This one is a hard minimum at 100,000 plus. Okay. So 100,000 plus. And the reason for it, it is too good of a deal. It is a 12% deal like Ducks. Okay. But this deal, a couple things. Number one, it is 100% pre-sold. So where does that come in? When we're looking at risk, we're looking at how a deal works. You always want to look at the deals with the lowest risk. Duck V, by his nature and by who he is a low risk deal. Okay. Just because of who he is. Rob, the reason this deal is low risk is even if you didn't know Rob and his deep pockets and how much money he has, you would know that this deal is 100% pre-sold with deposits. So that right there takes your risk down. Secondarily, it is first position. Tranche 1 will be first position. Tranche 2, somebody might come in and buy out tranche 1, but we won't get into that. So it's a first position deal. It is 12%. Interest only. Okay. It is a short-term deal. This deal is only for 18 months, and it could be less. So, Ducks was longer, 3 to 6 years. This is 18 months. So any of you that have a shorter time horizon, looking for a place to move money and get money working, but for a shorter period of time, 18 months. And it could take, you could be taken out in 10 months, but just know that it's an 18-month deal. And this interest is paid every single month. So it's 12% a year. So if you had 100 grand, that's $12,000. That would be divided out 12 ways, and every month you get a check. So you go out to the mailbox, it's open the mailbox, mailbox money. It's very passive. And not only that, this, let's see, it's in Atlanta, or it's in Georgia, not Atlanta, but it's just outside. It's in Georgia. I have the full kit. I'm trying to think what else to tell you. First position, 18 months, pre-sold development deal with deposits. Yeah. So how many of you would be interested? Yes. Here, I have the deal right here. Give me 1 second. I'll just pull it up for you so you guys can see this. Wow, this computer is shot. Like literally, it won't even let me type things in anymore. Every time I type something, it's wow.
What happened to the new Mac you got? Didn't you get a new Apple?
I did, and I'm not using that in here because it'd be hard for me to transition this room at this point. This is annoying. Whatever. If any of you are interested, I'll give you. Oh, here it is. Let's see. This is it. Dude, this computer doesn't want to do anything. All right. So unfortunately, I can't show you the deal. So listen, if any of you are interested in this deal that I just put up, send me an email and just go to, any.
I can pull it up, Chris. If you need
my computer. I'm honestly, after we're done with this, you might see me do a video of me going out like Office Space and just destroying this computer. And it might not be today, but I promise you there will be a YouTube of what happens when a computer pisses me off, because I am.
What do you want me to pull up? The spreadsheet or the offering or the executed, or what do you want?
Yeah, just pull up the deal. If you've got the email, just pull up the deal itself, like
the offering
to the right, the attachment.
Yeah, here, let me just share.
Yeah, be sure to back up your. Yeah, I mean, we'll dump the hard drive into the new computer. Yeah, Mike, I know.
How's that look?
Oh, there we go. All right, so here we go. Here's the deal, folks. Covington Creek, single-family rental community in Covington, Georgia. So if any of you know this area, it's a beautiful area. And then just keep scrolling through it real quick. There you go. And I can send this whole packet to you guys and gals. That shows the development. Yep. The location, obviously it's all location, location, location.
Site plan.
Go to site. Houses or the rentals they're going to build. More. Go.
Pretty cool. A $2 billion Facebook data center under construction. 10
There you
minutes
go.
away.
That's some jobs for you.
Yeah.
The metaverse.
Well, that area is growing, huh?
Here's, well, Georgia's massive.
And then the experience of the investor.
I mean, this is a big developer, folks.
That's what you look for when you 12% on a deal like this is crazy, Chris.
And he doesn't want to pay 12%. He's just trying to build a relationship with us. He can get money much cheaper from investment banks.
Yeah.
The only reason he's doing this is we're building a relationship through Private Money Club with him to kind of raise money for projects like this. This is the reason I did this project is not because it's a $10 million deal, but because it's pre-sold. And I felt like the first one we put up, the best way to do it is do it with a deal that's pre-sold, one that's first position, it just eliminates all the risks. So basically, the minimum is 100,000. So Jason, you were just asking, minimum on this deal is definitely 100,000 plus. The first raise is between 3 and 5 million, wherever we get to. I have a couple other people helping me raise. So yes, so this one, if any of you guys are interested, Stephen, just put my email, but put the flip out email. Send me an email and I will send you out this deal. But please do not send me an email with a whole bunch of questions. You can ask all the questions to the person that's borrowing the money. I'm simply just bringing an opportunity to you. So I don't really want to get into answering questions. Ain't nobody got time for that except for the borrower. So if you're interested and you're serious, I will then send you the deal. You will have all Rob's contact information. You can then book a call with Rob, and you and Rob can go about doing it and, you know, make some money. So this is just kind of what we're trying to do. We're always trying to solve problems for all of you and just, you know, really help you to get into deals that maybe before you would never have opportunities to actually even see, like this one or like Duck V's. Duck V's was not planned. That was sort of just by chance that he was on, and by chance that we got him to talk about it. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. So in the chat is my email. If you're serious and you are interested in this deal, and I'll send you the entire packet over, and then you can book a call with Rob. All right. So from here, Stephen, anything you want to add to that?
I just want to kind of explain what we're talking about real fast with self-directed IRAs and the private money club. So just to clarify that real fast, because this is brand new. We just announced it over the weekend. So a lot of you haven't even heard about this yet. So can I just share my screen real fast, Chris?
Yeah. Well, you're the host.
So what we have for you, you know, so here's the thing, when it comes to infinite banking and self-directed IRAs, are the fact that once you have the money and you're ready to invest, then a lot of people are like, oh shit, what do I invest in? Or how do I do private money lending? Or where do I find deals like this? And then on the other flip side, we've had just so many people come to us lately talking about crypto investing. So we wanted to put something together where you can invest in all this stuff and have coaching and support and help doing it, and how to use a self-directed IRA and how to buy crypto with it and how to do deals like this with it and all that stuff that comes along with it, right? So what we did is we came up with the take back control of your IRA and retirement self-directed packages. So the infinite banking concept, especially guys in whole life policies, remember, those are non-qualified funds. So that's money that's after tax dollars going in there. Once it's in there, it compounds tax-free. You pull the money out and you do what you want with it, right? Self-directed IRAs are qualified funds. So if you have an old 401k or an old IRA or something that's qualified funds, right? An old pension, whatever, that money and infinite banking are separate. So just remember to keep those separate at all times. However, but we have a lot of people that have a lot of qualified funds out there right now, especially right now with the markets doing what they're doing and probably going to crash. People want to get that out of the markets and into their own control. So we came up with these packages. So what happens with a self-directed IRA is you can take an old 401k or an existing IRA at like Fidelity or Morgan Stanley or wherever, and you can transfer that money to one of these IRAs. There's no penalties, there's no taxes, there's nothing involved, right? There's nothing against you for doing that. All you're doing is moving it from one brokerage to another brokerage, essentially, where you now control the money. So what we did is we came up with these packages to help you with all this. I'm just going to scroll down here to the bottom. So we came up with 3 different packages. So the first one is our crypto all-inclusive. So this is going to give you access to Spencer Montgomery's crypto investing course, as well as everything that I think they even get Private Money Club with that one, right, Chris? But everything that the real estate package gives you also. Is that right?
Yeah, we just included that. So that's not going to stay like that. But for right now, if anyone does the crypto package, which gives you the ability to buy cryptocurrency in your self-directed IRA, which is a little bit more complex, but we do all the work for you and provide the coaching and the trainings for that. You also right now get the Private Money Club and the real estate package as well with that one. And that's something that we kind of are flushing out because it definitely ends up making it so that there's zero profit on it. But, you know, we're doing it just as just trying to kind of provide more value for you guys.
Yeah. And I was just trying to unpin you. I don't know. Here we go. All right. So back to this. So, you know, also not only do you get access to the crypto training and support, you get access to the Private Money Club, so you can get in there and find the deals so you can move your money out of these self-directed accounts. We give you the Money School TV, a lifetime subscription right now is just kind of a promo we got going. We help you every step along the way with transferring the funds, making sure everything's done properly. Your accounts are all set up properly to trade crypto or trade real estate within there, or gold and silver, or anything else that's allowed with self-directed IRAs. And then we also created what's called our Money Mover mapping team. So just like in the infinite banking with the money multiplier, you have the mapping team that maps out how to use the policy. Well, now you have a money movement team that's going to help you do the same thing, but with your self-directed IRA. So we can project out how you're using the money, what you're doing with it, and things like that. So we have all this set up with you. And what we decided was just to make it all inclusive. So if you want to do crypto, real estate, and everything, then buy the crypto package. If you don't really want to mess with crypto at this point, just get into the real estate package and get access to everything so we can help you and get that money moving for you. So we've created these packages for you. You can go right to the site. It's moneyschoolrei.com/SDIRA. Just click on whichever package that you want, and you can use a credit card right there to pay for it. And we'll get you everything right away. It's all automated. We'll schedule calls with you right away to get you on the phone and start using all this stuff. You'll connect with Horizon. You'll connect with myself. You'll connect with Spencer and everybody to get you moving forward. Now, the other option, if you don't want to pay for those packages out of pocket, something cool you can do with a self-directed IRA is you can actually use your retirement funds to pay for those packages. So you have no money out of pocket, and it gets you into the crypto training, gets you into the private money club, into the money school coaching program, into the money movement team. It gets you all this stuff, no money out of pocket. It just comes right out of the IRA funds that you're transferring over. So if you want to go that route, just let me know, and I'll make sure that we arrange that way for you. So don't enroll through that link right there. Let me know so I can get that set up for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post my email and my call link schedule in the chat box. So if anybody wants to learn more information or wants help getting this started, just schedule a call or shoot me an email, and I'll walk you through which package is right for you, and we'll get you initiated and moving forward with it all. And I'll put the links in the chat box.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
so
Chris.
we'll get the links put in there. All right. So here's what we're going to do. How much time do we got? We got not much time, but here's what I want to do real quick in the end is I just kind of want to give you guys just a real quick crash course on the proper way to structure your deal. So if you were looking to structure the deal, I mean, whether you're on the here, we just gave you 2 lending opportunities, and we gave you the machines that you can use to do that, which we can help you with every one of them, except for the home equity line of credit. You got to find a community bank in your area or a credit union or just a bank that will give you the home equity line. But once you figure that out, the structure is quite simple. So first thing, you've got the place that holds your money. The very next thing you're going to do is you're going to, with the lender, or I'm sorry, with the borrower, is you're going to come up with the terms, which are going to be put in, basically, you've heard of these before, promissory note. Okay, we just call that a note. And this is going to spell out terms, it's going to spell out time, duration, all that good stuff. So these are all your terms for the deal. Now, once you've got the promissory note done, that isn't all that needs to be done. Once that's done and signed, the next step that I always require is I go to the borrower and I tell them I need to see, before I'm going to send the money, I need to see an insurance certificate showing me additionally insured. So if I'm lending $100,000 on one of these deals, I want an insurance certificate naming me additionally insured. Okay. So once we've got that done, the next step, what I'd be looking for is I then would want to review the security instruments. Okay, so I would want to then see, let's do it over here, the security. So in other words, what does the mortgage look like? What does the deed of trust look like? And one other thing you should probably do, depending on the deal, is ask to see a copy of the title report, which shouldn't be any problem because any of these people are going to be able to provide title because they can't even close on the property until they have the title. You just want to make sure that the title has no impending liens or anything else. And if they do, you want to make sure that they're done. Very simple, just an added thing. So check the security and the title report. Once that's done, now the funds can be sent into escrow. So at this point, what I would then do is I would get the wire instructions for a third party escrow agent. And that escrow agent in most cases is going to be an attorney, or it's going to be maybe a title company if it's real estate. And then I would have them hold my money. So at this point now, we've established terms. I've got my first level of security being an insurance certificate. If the building burns down, gets swept out by a flood, or gets struck by lightning, I get my money from the insurance company instead of getting my money from the borrower, who's probably kind of pissed off that they just, and listen, this does happen. My best friend is buying a property here in Rochester. A week before his deal closed, the house flooded. They had a pipe burst and the house flooded. Clearly, then he would, there was insurance, so that's paying for the repairs. But like that wouldn't be a good thing if he bought the property and all of a sudden the pipes, had destroyed it. So you want to make sure that's done. Once the money goes to the escrow, now the escrow agent has my $100,000. Now, in most cases, that doesn't mean that the interest clock starts ticking, because the very next thing that's going to happen is they're going to close on the deal. And you'll usually, by the time the money moves to escrow, have an idea of when this deal is closing. So at that point, the deal will close. The attorney or the title company will record the note and the mortgage instrument. Okay, these two items here will be recorded in the courthouse, which means now the deal is live. The interest clock starts ticking, and now you are protected with a tangible asset that will secure you. So after that point, the deal is now closed. The only final thing you want to do is have the title company or the attorney send you a copy of the executed note, a copy of the executed mortgage, and any closing documents that show you as a secured investor on that particular deal. In most cases, those two deals I mentioned, this is going to be how it's done. Sorry, that's kind of small, but you get the drift. It's not difficult. And if any of you have ever gotten a mortgage from a bank, this is what the bank does. Yes, it's a big packet of paper because their note and mortgage are combined and they make it very one-sided for the bank. But this is normally how you would do a deal. Don't skip any steps. Never, ever, ever send money directly to the, here you get all this stuff and then they want the money sent directly to the borrower. Don't do that. The money never goes to the borrower until the deal closes, until everything's recorded. Like, why would you give the money to the borrower before you're actually in a secured position? Well, unexperienced, or just maybe you say, oh, I trust the person. I trust duck fees. I don't care if you trust them. Those are the deals that always go bad. The ones that you think you trust, your friends, your family. Those are always the first ones that, excuse my language, but screw you over. Am I wrong? Because I think I'm right there. I know from experience. So just make sure that you follow these steps and it will protect you. It will keep your money safe and you will abide by law number 3 of wealth, where you're protecting your wealth and you're always investing in things you know, like, and understand. The cool part about like when you guys were talking about that Duck V deal is all of you were like kind of getting emotionally into that. You're like, oh my God, I have dogs. I'd love to bring my dogs there. Oh, are they going to have RVs? That might mean you have an RV. Oh, I can't wait to go tubing down that river or fly fishing. Oh, elk hunting would be awesome. Like you get emotionally into the deal. So you know, like, and understand that deal. The development deal, you might be like, oh, I've seen these development deals going up. I've seen these rentals. That's a great business. And you get emotionally attached. So you know, like, and understand the deal. It's law number 3, you protect your wealth. All right, if you like that video, make sure you check out this video right now. And also don't forget, subscribe to my channel and don't ever forget to smash that alert button. We'll see you on the next one.